What does it mean to build a legacy so grand that it echoes for 1,000 years? For Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty, it was everything. He was a brilliant general, a wise ruler, and the architect of a golden age. But like all great men, his time was finite. How does such a legend face his own mortality? And what happens to the empire he built when he's gone? This is the story of Emperor Taizong's final chapter, a tale of succession, political intrigue, and a legacy that would forever define China. In his later years, Emperor Taizong wasn't just resting on his laurels, he was meticulously working to secure the future of the Tang dynasty. Having forged an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity known as the Reign of Zhenguan, his focus shifted from conquest to consolidation. He spent countless hours mentoring his chosen heir, his son Li Ji, instilling in him the principles of just governance and wise leadership that had made his own reign so successful. Taizong understood that a legacy isn't just about what you build, but about ensuring it can stand long after you're gone. He was refining his administrative reforms, documenting his policies, and making sure the foundations of the Zhenguan era were solid enough for his successor to build upon. However, the relentless pace of ruling a vast empire had taken its toll. As Taizong entered his late 40s, his health began to decline. The once vigorous warrior and statesman found himself battling persistent illness. Ever the pragmatist, he knew he had to prepare for the inevitable. He started a gradual and deliberate transfer of power to Crown Prince Li Ji. This wasn't an abdication, but a carefully managed transition. He brought Li Ji into the highest levels of government, allowing him to handle daily administrative tasks and preside over court meetings under his watchful eye. This public display of trust was designed to prevent the kind of succession crisis that had tragically marked his own rise to power. He wanted to ensure a smooth, peaceful handover, securing both his son's position and the stability of the empire. In the summer of 649 CE, at the age of 51, Emperor Taizong's journey came to an end. He passed away in the magnificent Tang capital of Chang'an, having reigned for 23 years. He left behind a legacy that was almost mythical in its scope. He had inherited a fractured land and transformed it into a unified, powerful, and prosperous empire that was the envy of the world. His death marked the end of an era, a moment of profound grief and uncertainty for the millions who had known only his firm and steady leadership. Emperor Taizong was laid to rest in a manner befitting his stature. His tomb, the Zhao Mausoleum, or Zhaoling, is one of the most magnificent imperial burial sites in Chinese history. Carved into the side of Mount Jusong, it was a fortress-like complex designed to protect the emperor in the afterlife. The entrance was famously guarded by stone reliefs of his 6 favorite war horses, each a testament to his military prowess. Surrounding his main tomb were the satellite graves of his most loyal officials, generals, and family members, a celestial court to accompany their sovereign into eternity. The scale and artistry of the Zhaoling tomb reflect the sheer grandeur of his reign. With Taizong's passing, the throne passed to his son, Li Ji, who became Emperor Gaozong. The transition was exactly as Taizong had planned, smooth and undisputed. Emperor Gaozong was a conscientious ruler who initially strove to continue his father's policies. The early years of his reign saw the continuation of the prosperity and stability of the Zhenguan era. He maintained the open and efficient government his father had established and pushed the Tang dynasty's territory to its greatest extent. However, Gaozong lacked his father's decisive and forceful personality, a trait that would have profound consequences for the future of the dynasty. While he was a competent administrator, he would soon be overshadowed by a formidable figure within his own court. That figure was, of course, Wu Zetian. Originally a concubine of Emperor Taizong, she had been sent to a convent upon his death, as was tradition. However, she had formed a connection with Li Ji before he became emperor. Gaozong, now emperor, brought her back to the palace. From there, her rise was nothing short of meteoric. Through ruthless intelligence and political maneuvering, she outwitted all her rivals, eventually becoming Empress Consort. As Emperor Gaozong's health began to fail later in his reign, Wu Zetian increasingly took control of state affairs, effectively ruling from behind the throne. This was the beginning of an ascent that would culminate in her declaring her own dynasty, becoming China's one and only female emperor. A development no one, perhaps not even Taizong, could have ever foreseen. Despite the drama that followed, the legacy of Taizong's reign, the Zhenguan era, was cemented in history. It became the gold standard for good governance in China. Future emperors, court officials, and scholars would study his reign for centuries, analyzing his methods of selecting talented officials regardless of their birth, his willingness to accept criticism, and his balance of military strength with diplomatic grace. The Essentials of Government of the Zhenguan Period, a book compiling his political dialogues, became a required text for future rulers, a blueprint for creating a stable and prosperous society. Taizong wasn't just an emperor, he became a symbol of enlightened rule. Of course, history is never black and white. While later historians universally praised Taizong for his achievements as emperor, they couldn't ignore the brutal path he took to get there. His ambush and killing of his own brothers at the Xuanwu Gate incident remained a dark stain on his record. This contrast created a complex historical figure. Was he a ruthless usurper who became a wise king, or was his wisdom a justification for his earlier actions? This debate highlights the complexities of power and morality, making Taizong a fascinating and deeply human character, not just a flawless sage king. His story serves as a powerful reminder that great leaders are often forged in the fires of difficult and sometimes terrible choices. The impact of Taizong's death resonated far beyond the borders of the Tang Empire. During his reign, Chang'an had become the most cosmopolitan city in the world. Envoys and merchants from Korea, Japan, Tibet, Persia, and the kingdoms of Central Asia flocked to his court, paying tribute to the great Khan of Heaven, a title bestowed upon him by nomadic tribes. His death was mourned across Asia. Foreign dignitaries who had respected his power and admired his culture felt the loss of a great leader who had brought a measure of stability and order to the vast continent. The diplomatic ties he had forged helped ensure the Tang dynasty's influence would continue for decades after his passing. Ultimately, Emperor Taizong's enduring influence is undeniable. His vision shaped the Tang dynasty for the next century and a half. His emphasis on meritocracy created a dynamic and effective bureaucracy. His encouragement of open debate fostered an environment of intellectual and political vitality. His strategic expansion and diplomatic outreach established a vast and influential empire. He created a model of civilization that was so powerful and attractive that it left an indelible mark on all of East Asia. The story of his final years isn't just an end, it's the cementing of a legend and the dawn of a new, more complex era for the empire he built. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's most fascinating periods, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the legends who shaped our world. See you next time.